Prince revealed 5 musicians he hated the most. There's no question that Prince he was a legend. Genius doesn't change music forever, but genius does make sure people can get along with you all the time. Behind the famous looks the line getting records broken and the mysterious Prince didn't care about what she thought. Those who didn't agree, some artists crossed his way and never got a second chance, others just stood for everything he did. Could not stand the music business, and while Prince rarely talked about it in public, behind the scenes, the stress was high. If he were real, you might think you know who he is. Clashed with, but trust us, some of these names will catch you off guard. The 5 acts who got into the most fights. Let's jump in with Prince. Michael Jackson. He was a joke that they were only 2 months old when they were born. Different in 1958, they changed the rules of what Prince knew. What it meant to be a pop star. They were together for decades. They're dancing around each other instead of together, but in battles for power and outright dislike. If the 1980s were a great time of pop, these two were the hottest titans and most hated foes. In 1983, James Brown brought both Prince and Michael Jackson to the stage at a show in Los Angeles by Michael Jackson. After the popularity of Thriller moved on to the stage and amazed everyone with his Jackson. Then asked for signature moves. Prince was asked to join by Brown. What came next is the stuff of pop legends and pop. Prince walked on stage with shame. Strummed an odd solo on a guitar that didn't go with the other guitar, took off some clothes and tried to hang from a fake lamp post and swing. To fall in front of a lot of people. The lamp post fell over everyone. Michael Jackson was allegedly gasped by the crowd. Tapes of them never stopped laughing. Moonwalker Jackson wrote a book called Described making fun of the moment by saying he was a joke and a fool. People were yelling and running. I felt so bad because it was all caught on video. Jackson is said to have kept the video footage that he showed it to parties to show how bad his Quincy said that rival really was. Jones. Prince was so mad that he stood outside the venue in his car and he said he was going to run Jackson over. Jones remembered. That was his goal. Whether it was a lie or not, the moment set though. The year was 1986, and there was war. Had an idea that he thought was great: get Michael Jackson and Prince to work together. The song was bad, and the endeavor it was huge, and both guys were on top of the world, but getting them to work together was. Jackson says it's like mixing fire and gasoline. Sent Prince a proof copy of the song, brought it back with almost everything, played it again, and when he saw the opening lyric, "Your butt is mine," he lost it. Who's going to sing that to whom? After the conversation, Prince made a joke with Chris Rock, because you're not singing it to me, and I'm not going to do it. Singing it to you, so we got something. He walked away from the whole project. The duo died, and in the place of Prince, Wesley Snipes was in the after the famous film. Prince said with a smile that Wesley Snipes' role, that it would have been me, but now you're in charge of that video in your head. During those same, Prince is said to have shown up at Michael's home with a strange white the box Camille, a name Prince used. He began writing for his female alter ego, addressing Jackson Camille in public. Quincy Jones remembered the event very clearly. There were cuffs and other things in the box. Michael was wearing pants with Tootsie Rolls on them. He was scared to death that I was going to take it because it had magic in it. Because I knew Michael would. It wasn't just silent, so throw it away. Violence. It was strange and planned fear, and it worked on. Jackson said they would never forget it. In 1985, Jackson and Richie wrote "We Together Are You" the all-star charity song, World. To help end the hunger, everyone showed Get Up. Springsteen, Dylan, Stevie Wonder, and Tina Turner, but Prince didn't, even though phone calls from Lionel Richie to private people and a request from Sheila E. In order to entice Prince, he said he would go but didn't show up. Make a solo part on your own, Quincy Jones yelled. I don't need him to sing. It was that night that dozens of artists sang for the world. Prince wasn't there. Having fun at Carlos and Charlie's in Los Angeles. When the press found him, a fight broke out. 2 of his protection were caught. The next day's news was very bad. while Prince saves the world with music royalty. Saturday Night Live Punches Dunsbury made fun of him and roasted him. Was the bad guy of the night meant to save the world? In a story told by William Michael went to a Prince's Vegas shows. At one point in the 2000s, Prince moved to the front of the crowd, straight up to Jackson, and began hitting the bass hard in his groove. Say Jackson's face the next day. Why do you think Prince was angry? Putting bass in my face, Prince. I wrote Billy that I had always been a big meanie. Gene, I wrote, we are the world writing songs too. Their beef wasn't just the music, was personal. Once Prince Michael was asked to play ping pong. Jackson showed up looking like he wasn't ready. Prince hit him in the face with the ball. Reportedly yelled, "Did you see that?" He played like Helen Keller. There was clear anger, but there was also the obsession. Jackson went to a lot of Prince looked up Purple Rain show dates Thriller very carefully. According to insiders in the business, they were always watching each other try to outdo the other but never worked together. When Michael King passed away in 2009, and Prince said almost not even a tweet or an honor, but inside jokes, people close to him said he was very moved. In an interview, Prince, I don't want to talk about it, she said. I was too close to it, he said later. Jackson's "Don't Stop Till You Get It" get enough on tour, a surprise but a touching nod to the man he'd spent his life without getting angry. And maybe I liked how they both changed the music. Both changed what it means to be black in pop culture. They were shy, perfectionists, and they died the same way, style icons. Accidental deaths after they returned from the news. Michael Jackson and Prince were more than just foes, they were always two sides of the same coin. Compared to their quarrel, which would last forever, not because of hate, but because of ego and fear and being alone because you're the best. In the end, there was only room for one king and two crowns, Keith Richards. And too much in the history of music, there have been as strangely personal as the one between Prince and Keith Richards on one funk rock band that was ahead of its time. Child genius who pushed all the limits of genre, gender, and how well they did. On the other hand stood the facing the excesses of classic rock. A man whose guitar had been cutting through decades of rebellion. They ran into each other. It wasn't just music, what music meant, who it belonged to, and how far you were willing to go. The fight began asking MC Jagger to come over in 1981. Always the person with the most open mind. In what the Rolling Stones liked about the disturbing record Dirty Mind by Prince, they chose to hire him as the opening act for two huge shows at the it should be the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. Have been an important time for the 90,000 for a young artist from Minneapolis. Fans got 2 nights and a thumbs up. Rock stars instead, it turned into a nightmare. Prince in his usual brave way fashion walked the stage in a trench coat that you can see through, thigh-high boots and black bikini panties. For the Stones fans was mostly white, loud, and drunk. Wasn't having it, they booed and laughed. Claimed to have used racist slurs. Were not ready for a talent such as Prince. Felt bad about himself after the first show. He ran back to Minnesota, angry and upset. Jagger was the one who got him to come back. Prince was said to be in tears by several people behind the scenes after the first show, but Jagger had faith in him to come back and finish what you began, he told him. Prince stormed the stage a second time. Facing down the same thing, unfriendly crowd, but things didn't get any worse. Better, but people still didn't get him. They might not have ever done that. Then came the Keith Richards, who had already threw away Dirty Mind as trash. Was upset that Prince's music didn't move him. Courage, he felt insulted by being there. You'll never be better than the headliner, even more so with a Stones crowd, he said. Made fun of Prince's act and called it an insult to their listeners. In a famous thing he said, he's a prince, who believes he is already a king. Prince who is too good has to find out what Richards thinks it means to be a prince. It was fake what Prince stood for. He said that he was more interested in taking advantage of the music business than making music. In a conversation with He stepped up in the LA Times, I think it's very smart of him to use the music business and the show business. I think he's more interested in business. I don't see much other than making songs. There's offense in everything he does. Princess, who was hurt and angry apparently, they rarely sat down and spoke. Fought back in private once, mentioning Stones fans as not having good taste in music, and it was a war of words in my head. But a deeper hurt seemed to be there. To be the sick Prince had not only been turned down by a crowd but in public put down by one of the most powerful men in rock. How the two are different couldn't be more cut. Prince fluid in what the future held for gender and genre. Richards has deep roots in blues rock traditions from the past, saw that coming. As fake and pompous, while Jagger and drummer Charlie Watts thought it was great because Prince was so brave. Watts later said, being a Prince, he went out in his shorts and got booed off, which didn't make me not like him. Richards dug in his boots for Prince of the Stones. The experience woke me up. Made him stronger, but he never forgot the embarrassment didn't make him who he was. He then put out Purple Rain in 1999. And a string of records that changed the course of history. He would be one of the most important. He didn't need any current music artists. The Stones, he made his own kingdom. As for Richards' dislike of Prince kept going over the years, but the death of Prince changed things in 2016. Richards is known for being very mean, honest, put up a surprisingly soft honor, a unique artist, a real original, so sad and sudden, and I'll add a great we will all miss the guitar player Ed Sheeran. Don't ram it down our throats. Prince was many things in his life. Unknown dreamer, not willing to give in, but he was polite about music. He didn't like respect in private, and in public he did not bother with the privacy of Paisley Park. Back and among the pop stars of today who found himself right in his sights, Ed Sheeran. After the death of Prince in 2016, a trove of handwritten notes and personal letters was found at his Minnesota home. Here at home, these weren't just scribbles, they were bluntly honest looks at fame, art, and the current state of pop music. Some of them were put together to make the beautiful ones a biography Prince had started to write soon with author Dan Piepenbring before he died. The world was there. Found out how Prince really felt about the using an acoustic guitar to top the charts. Not happy with Sheeran. We need to tell that they keep trying to hit Ed. We're not going to let Sheeran get through to us. No matter how many times they play it, Prince wrote in one of his To Write, that one line said it all. Prince Sheeran stood for everything. He thought the music was bad. Repetitiveness and blandness in the business. In terms of business reliability, it wasn't Sheeran's special. Prince didn't attack her character, but he saw victory in Sheeran's, an indication of a business that had stopped being happy about risk, depth and risk, and had instead begun making music that was safe, easy to understand and made for background. Piepenbring later told the What Noise Guardian agreed with Prince's point of view. Wasn't really about Ed Sheeran the person. He said it was what he stood for, this system that flattens everything, straight to the point, a packed type of pop music. For Prince had to make something he believed in come to life with songs about teeth that made you stop. What, why did you question the world or just sense something? In Sheeran's huge Prince heard the opposite, music that was popular, made so as not to upset, challenge or to offend but fit in. It's important to note that Prince wasn't against all modern. He said nice things about Kendrick Lamar's music to sell a butterfly as pure and important. He liked how Kanye West used sounds perfect in Gold Digger, so it wasn't about genre or age. With all his artistic guts, Ed Sheeran has never responded to what Prince said, and maybe that was a good idea in 2016 when Prince Sheeran was at the top of his game when he died. Worldwide fame. But for all the love that he was getting, Prince's rejection must have hurt. Coming from one of music's smartest people, it was more than just an insult, it was a charge against Katy Perry. Beige pop. If Prince didn't like Ed, with his guitar, Sheeran had even more charm. Katy Perry's flashy music is taking longer to load. Pop right at you while Perry was busy radio with hits like Roar, Teenage, The Prince of Dream and California Girls was being quiet and taking notes that aren't nice. In the same harsh message where he called out Sheeran, Prince and threw Katy together, Perry in the same group they keep. They are trying to push Katy Perry and Ed Sheeran down our necks, he wrote. We don't, no matter how many times they. It's not like Prince had to have a grudge against Perry personally. She only saw her music as a symbol of an business averse to. From his point of view, Perry's bubblegum pop made to appeal to a wide audience lacked the creativity, soul, and risk that made the song. Prince lived for a man who turned himself into a sign that can't be spoken in protest of how record labels run things. The of music being made like crazy food was the bane of Prince's business. Was built on formulas that defied what he mixed funk, rock, gospel, R&B and new wave, something that was only his. He was shocking, his smell was nice and his personality was strange. The difference was big, and pop chants about candy-colored looks and lines that didn't go very far past the Prince didn't hear her songs at first provoke or go beyond it agreed to made Prince's dislike for Perry clear. It was especially painful how different the texts they sent while Perry built and based on feel-good songs and catchy plastic-grade images. Prince thought pop should make people feel uneasy as a lot as it made him laugh. He once said it didn't have enough pop that makes you being scared makes you wonder what's Perry didn't meet what was going on that bar. Not like Sharon. Perry's character could have given Prince an even better grade, whose mystery and power over the public appearance were very important to his appeal. Perry was rude and everywhere Prince was, her fame was hard to find and planned. Built on giving too much to share, the very fact that they appear in pop culture were almost at odds with each other, and while Prince never made fun of them in public, at Perry while he was still living, his notes that were found show that he was tolerant of pop music was in bad shape. He is said to have called it brown. His word for music that was everywhere yet didn't say anything about songs that tried to please everyone but no one. Perry was a part of that gray wave in his mind. Prince didn't hate all women, though. Artists with whom he worked and helped a lot of people: Sheila E., Janelle Monáe. These are just a few of the what he wanted people to be brave, which he thought that popular pop had lost. Trent Reznor, what a creep. In the beginning of his work, Trent Reznor looked up at Prince in a young soldier might look up to a general. There was more to him than just a fan. Prince's do-it-yourself skills and studio genius and his clear view made him a plan for how Reznor thought, putting in 9-inch nails, but like many stories in the world of music that started in admiration turned into awkward disagreements and growing apart. While Reznor was making Pretty Hate in the late 1980s. He stuffed a thank you to Prince in the box notes of the album. Notes that only Prince was telling Neen didn't sound anything alike, but musically, not from a logical point of view. Prince had shown that one man could write, make, plan, and record a whole "I had this record" on his own terms. Prince did a great job with that beautiful idea himself, and I had a lot of respect for him. For in the end, told Option magazine, I began to do it right away and took a clean up at a Cleveland recording studio during the day to clean toilets, and he learned how to do audio engineering by night. He hoped he could do it like Prince, get some studio time to work on his Pretty Hate was the result of his idea. Make a record that will become a key part of industrial rock. Even the last song, Ringfinger, had a piece of Prince's alphabet Saint student to teacher with a secret sound nod. Master. Fast forward to in 1993, Reznor was deep into making the recording of Downward Spiral at an important record plant in Los Angeles. Then he heard what Prince had said. Booked the same space at first. It was engineering staff at the exciting. Prince even told the Purple One had been referring to Broken Nin's rough 1992 EP as idea. He knows you guys, they said. While listening to Broken, he said, "You want it to sound like that." Reznor was thrilled. "I thought this is great, my hero," he said. Turn around a possible partnership. Even Prince asked Nan to remix one that came up. Reznor was ready with one of his new songs, and the rules quickly came back after that. Found out that working near Prince, getting around his fortress of being strange, you were never to say that he thought of the word Prince in Select magazine. You had to write that down. Sign that you should never look at him or don't talk to him unless he comes to you. First the mood changed from exciting to strange. When Prince finally showed up, it was he shows up in a scene from a fever dream in a car wearing a bright pink shirt dress with a big hat, a cane, and very high heels. A candy bar, Reznor remembered, and he's using the worst perfume for women you've ever smelt, with 2 guardians with you and not a single person there to threaten. Prince floated through the room like a royal. The event took place. Prince was walking down the hall. He walks right as they come the other way. Reznor told me I couldn't believe it as he walked by. It doesn't matter who you are, that's that one moment broke the fake news. My heart was broken. Real agreed that it was the remix project. What Prince had said was now off. The dream of meeting was passed by the table, having his hero work with him to become a Prince's world lost a piece when the truth about neon jumpsuits and an awkward pause shuts down the god he had made in his mind turned out to be another faulty icon shrouded in mystery and perfume. Reznor is known for making people angry and rejection into art. Hid to gain skills and move forward with the Downhill Spiral is a dark work of art that launched 9 inches. Nails into the cultural atmosphere. Even though the Break Your Heart, the link between the two artists didn't stop their Prince's the 1996 song Had You has a creepy vibe to it. Something like Nin's downward spiral follow eraser all the way down to the sparse tone that is hostile and hostile arrival by chance, homage. In either case, it proved that Prince was I was still paying attention, but Reznor wasn't. Always be quiet. In a fan Q&A he was asked if he held back unreleased songs like Prince notoriously did his If You Have 100, answer cut deep. Reznor said, "Great songs or 1,000, perhaps you could choose a few and put them on the record you put out because the last few have been awful." Even though it was harsh, it was honest. Reznor never felt stress and awkwardness. I no longer value Prince's work at all. He told Rolling Stone in 2011 that praised him and called him a huge influence. What he can do by himself after the Pink and after the snub jumpsuit and the quiet hallway. That Reznor wasn't the only one whose impact lasted. Leroy was the only one who saw the link. Bennett was a production artist who did with both artists once said. Trent is there is a very thing that ties their thoughts together as artists, two creators, two people in charge, freaks, two perfectionists with deep their different egos. They were really more alike than either would have liked to say if it was about style or not. Matter or just plain ego. One thing is Prince didn't hold back, but now it's your turn. How did you think Prince was? Was he just calling or was he being too mean? To find out the truth. Was it about personal beef? Or keeping what he thought music was? Should be. Drop your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear your take, and if you enjoyed this deep dive into music's most iconic feuds, don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more stories behind the legends.